This is Sway.
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 In the morning.
In the morning.
In the morning.
Shake it, bye.
Wake your punk ass up.
Crust out your eyes.
It's a coincidence. The universe is full of coincidences.
That's a scene from one of my favorite series to date, Masters of Sex. And we have Dr. William Masters with us right now. Michael Sheen has joined us this morning. Welcome to the show, man.
Oh, thank you very much. Was that me?
Yeah, that was you. You never heard yourself?
I didn't sound like myself at all.
Really?
Well, I have a British accent for a start.
Yeah.
Who was that American man?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you do have a British accent, right? Yeah. Does it weird you out to hear yourself?
It is. It's sort of strange. It's not. Well, I'm sort of used to seeing myself now, but it's weird just hearing myself doing a different accent. I'm not used to that. That was really weird. When the clip first started, I thought I was listening to something else. I thought it was just something else on your show.
Well, did you think the guy you were listening to was doing a great job, or you thought he was horrible?
Well, once I realized it was me, I was like, wow, great job.
Yeah.
Nice.
Michael Sheen is here. When this series first came to be, I've been watching it, since you guys started, and I was just watching last night, matter of fact. The title of it in itself is alluring. So, that alone would make people watch. But it's really a really interesting, complex storyline to this series.
Yeah, well, it's become bolder and bolder and more ambitious, I think, as it's gone along. Like you say, who would have thought that sex would get people interested? Whoever would have thought that? But, that's what sort of pricks people's ears up, I guess. But once you get into the show, it becomes about all kinds of things. And a lot of people are saying now in season 2 as well, as we're moving into the civil rights movement and what's going on in the country. And, we've touched on what it was like for, people in the gay community at that time. And, there's a lot of stuff that we're exploring, and what the fear is, of course, is that you take on these big subjects and then not do them real service, just sort of treat them superficially. And but I think with the reactions that we're getting, people are really feeling like the ambition is paying off now, which is great.
It's interesting because it's set in a time. What decade is this?
The story began in the mid-50s, and we're moving up now into the early 60s.
The early 60s, and so you have a colleague of yours who, he's been gay. He has a daughter. He lives. He's married, and he does. Last season he did everything he can to try to, even shock the gayness out of him. There was an episode, I think, in this season, I want to say 3 or 4, where there was a baby born who had both sets of genitalia, right? And you were trying to convince the father to, let him be the XY chromosome that he was born to be. And the father didn't want to deal with it. And it showed, a time in America where this was, it seemed like it's based on reality and real mentalities that took place in America. These are bold topics.
Yeah. And it's all essentially around the idea of what is it to be masculine? What is it to be feminine? What makes a man? What makes a woman? And for my character, given that the show focuses on a man and a woman, Virginia Johnson and Bill Masters, and to some extent, Virginia is a sort of uber woman in some ways. She's ahead of her time in many ways in terms of her own sexuality and how she feels about that. Bill Masters is very much a man of his time in lots of ways, where the idea of what it was to be masculine, where you don't show emotion, and and a woman's place is in the kitchen, and a man's place is to be the alpha male and to be the breadwinner, and he's into boxing, he's into fighting, he's
a Neanderthal.
Well, in some ways, yeah. And we start to see in this season a bit more, what made him like that. We start to find out a bit more about his relationship with his father. So there's a lot about fathers and sons, mothers and daughters. And that episode that you mentioned, the way the father of this baby reacts to the baby pushes a lot of buttons for Masters about his own father and his own relationship and what being a man means to him. And so ideas of sex and sexuality, we're looking for all kinds of ways to express that. And especially during that period of time, there was so little talked about. It was so much that people were afraid of. And what's interesting is, even though so much has changed now, there's still as much to be ashamed of and frightened of because you know you can't go anywhere without images of sex and sexuality now. But it's become it's a brand. It's commercialized. It's used to get us to buy things and sell things, and and that's in some ways just as dangerous as nobody talking about it at all.
At all, right? You play opposite Lizzie Kaplan, right? Who plays Virginia Johnson. This is easily one of the top 5 sexiest women on the screen right now.
Hey now.
And you guys you have some steamy sex scenes. Do y'all hang out offset at all? Or how do you get so comfortable with another actress where you could pull these off, and then when the guy says scene and it's over, and you shake off all of that energy you built up, acting in these roles? I mean, does it ever get uncomfortable?
Well, I mean, to be honest, the danger for us is that we got on so well from the beginning when we first started the show. And became sort of like brother and sister almost. We just had a lot of laughs together and got to know each other so well.
No,
The danger is that then you find yourself doing these, sexual scenes, and all you want to do is just laugh at each other all the time. It's like doing it with a really good, friend and pretend, and it sort of becomes very uncomfortable. But we've got so relaxed with each other now. What's funny is watching how uncomfortable everyone else is.
Yeah, because the scenes look so real.
Yeah.
Well,
Michael Sheen.
And when the makeup lady comes in and has to put a bit of powder on your backside, or come in and put a bit of sweat on us, they're dying of embarrassment when they come in, and the more relaxed we are, the more embarrassed everyone else gets.
Are you covered up when you do these scenes, or you
now?
No, but
I'm completely naked. For the listeners, I am completely naked as we sit.
When you do these scenes, do you cover up the genitalia?
There are various accoutrements that you can use in scenes depending on what's going to be seen and what's not going to be seen. The accoutrement of choice for me is a pouch. That was designed specifically by the person who dresses me, and it has a drawstring. You put what your mother gave you into the pouch, then you pull the drawstring around it, and then you've got no lines, so then they can shoot you from behind, they can shoot you from the side, and then if anything gets seen, it's sort of a flesh color as well. Yeah. So and it is incredibly funny. Okay. So it helps out. Everyone's a winner.
You ever stuff your pouch just to just to people in the room can be impressed?
Look, I've got to keep my sandwiches somewhere.
Okay. All right. All right. Michael Sheen has joined us, Masters of Sex. You know him also from the Twilight series. Which when I look at you now, I feel like you're going to grab my hand and read my thoughts. We're going to come back, and we got a game that we created especially for you, DB. What is this game called?
Are you a sex master?
Yes, so that's up next. Sway in the Morning, Shade 4-5.
Only to die tomorrow.
You know that voice from Twilight? Was it Aro?
I was thinking, what episode of Masters of Sex was
that? No, that was on Twilight, man.
That was Arrow from Twilight.
Yeah, and he was a member of the
Volturi.
The Volturi, the scariest. They remind me of Congress, right? You know what I mean? Like they're always overlooking. They're like Big Brother.
Yeah, they were like a cross between the Vatican, Congress, and the Mafia.
All rolled up in one, right? What a powerful role you played in that, and it must have been a treat to be a part of this. I mean, nobody knew how big that series would become on Twilight, right?
Yeah, exactly. When I was first asked if I would play the part, I went to my daughter, who I think was probably about 8 or 9 at the time or something, and maybe a little bit older, 9 or 10. And I said, have you heard of this Twilight? And that was it. She was off. Oh yeah, I've read all the books. I've read every single one 5 times. What are you going to be in it? And I was like, I don't know yet. I'm not sure. Hang on. And I asked her about the character of Arrow, and then I realized how passionate she was about this story, and that was amazing to be part of this kind of phenomenon, really, where no matter what anyone thinks about those stories, like they connected with a lot of people, a lot of young people, and it was amazing to be a part of that.
So you're like a women adult women love you, and then little teeny boppers love you at the same time, man.
I don't know if they love me. I look so different, in these sort of things that on the whole, I managed to kind of get away with it, and people don't tend to recognize me as much. Although it's different now. I think when you're on TV week in and week out, people tend to recognize you a bit more. But unless I'm walking around with long, straight black hair and red eyes,
they don't recognize you.
It tends not to be the case.
Okay, man. Michael Sheen is here. You know him from Masters of Sex currently, as well as Twilight and all the. I was a part Underworld series. I love that as well.
Yeah,
man.
I've played vampires and werewolves.
And werewolves.
Not
right?
many people can say that.
Yeah, you killed it as a werewolf too, man. You're always different in every role you play. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But we wanted to test you, man, because a lot of us. Tracy G does her own segment on Fridays. It's called
School of Sex. I'd like to completely immerse myself in sexuality as well. Not where I'm the prime example, where I'm like screwing around with a bunch of people, but the science of sex, just looking at how social aspects, biological aspects of it affect people. So that's why I was like, you know what? We got to get DB to see if he can possibly stump you with a trivia game.
Okay, I'm prepared to become stumped.
The name of the game is...
Are you a sex master? First question.
Ooh, I like this music.
According to a study, what's the #1 sex position men prefer? Is it A, reverse cowgirl, B, doggy style, C, missionary, or D, traditional cowgirl?
I am going to go with doggy style.
Sorry, it's D, traditional cowgirl.
Damn, Dr. Williams Masters has got that one wrong.
All right, number 2.
All right.
On average, girls lose their virginity at what age? A, 17, B, 16, C, 15, or D, 14?
I have a 15-year-old daughter, so I'm going to go for 17.
You are correct.
Yeah, that's why I start cringing. So do I.
And if it isn't, it should be.
Yes, all right.
All right, number 3. What's the first thing most Americans reach for after sex? A, a cigarette, B, food, C, snuggle session, or D, their cell phone?
I'm going to go for cell phone.
You are correct.
Okay, yeah, all right. That's why he got his masters.
Whereas in Britain, it's a pen to write a poem about what just happened.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's romantic. Anyway, number 4. How many calories are in 1 teaspoon of sperm? I did not come up with these questions. A, 5, B, 3, C, 7, or D, 20?
Wow.
Damn.
Yummy.
I'm going to go for
I don't even care what the answer is, really.
3, and I'm hoping I don't get this right.
Yeah, no, right?
Well, you're wrong.
Oh, okay.
It's 5.
Okay.
All right, last question.
Still low-cal.
Which celebrity never had a past life as a stripper? A, Brad Pitt, B, Lady Gaga, C, Nicki Minaj, or D, Mark Consuelos?
What, never had a
Never
past
had a
life?
life as a past stripper.
Is this something they've said, or that we know is it right? Something they've said. All right, I'm gonna go for because it seems unlikely. Lady Gaga.
Close. Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj. Yeah, Gaga did strip a little bit early on. She's proud of it. Hey, man. But look, man, you still a master of sex as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you.
All right, Michael
Thank you very
Sheen,
much.
ladies and gentlemen, pleasure to meet you and have you on our show.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank
Absolutely. That makes you a citizen.
Of Sway in the morning.
There it is.
Yeah.
All right, man. Go celebrate that.
It's Sway in the morning, only on Shade 45.